If you think your height is the only thing holding you back from launching a modeling career, that is incorrect. I'm 5'6" and I just signed with my 5th modeling agency. I've worked with international brands in New York and LA. So today I am going to cover how to find the right agency for you. I'll talk about the importance of showing off your personality and skills when applying to agencies, how I applied to agencies as a petite model, and also some advice on the mindset you need to be successful in the industry. Make sure you watch this video the whole way through because I drop a lot of random and useful knowledge that I've picked up in my 5 years in the industry. If you're new here, I'm Carly. On this channel, I talk about how to approach modeling as a business, and I drop a lot of insider tips. So if you're interested, subscribe and ring the notification bell so you don't miss my videos. A short model in the fashion industry is considered under 5'9". The reason there have been height and size requirements historically was because high fashion developed around standardized sample sizes to streamline the design and production processes. It's more cost-effective to fit clothes to models, and sure, longer torsos and limbs create certain aesthetics that clients deemed favorable. And so if clients perpetuate these looks, then that's what agents will give them because it's a business at the end of the day. But the good news is the industry has been shifting in recent years. And when it comes to commercial modeling, lots of clients want models with the person next door look. Sometimes 5'9", a high fashion face, and size 0 just isn't relatable to the average consumer. And high fashion / runway is only one type of modeling. In fact, almost every other type of modeling is more size and height inclusive. That includes fitness modeling, fit modeling, commercial and print modeling, and beauty. From an agent's point of view, if they don't think that you as a model will make them money, they will not sign you. If they do sign you, that means they've seen casting requests for people of your look, or they think that you have a very interesting look that is very marketable. Many agencies are either more commercial forward or more high fashion forward. You can kind of determine that based on the jobs they book for their models. If they show more runway and editorial style jobs on their website and social media, then they are a fashion forward agency. If they book more everyday brand types of jobs, then they are a commercial forward agency. If you're starting out, I would say apply to all agencies in your area and see what interest you get. If you are shorter than 5'9", you might find that you get more interest from commercial and talent agencies just because they tend to be a little bit more inclusive. Some modeling agencies are a bit of a hybrid because there's a lot of money to be made in commercial work, but high fashion might be more prestigious. So that then lends to the brand image too. Models.com is a great tool for a quick look at modeling agencies in your area or your closest city. And I would also recommend doing a Google search of talent agencies in your area too. Outside of New York and LA, most agencies work in a region. So for example, an agency in Chicago can still book work for their models in Ohio or maybe Minnesota, for example. And for bigger bookings that you might have to travel for, the rate or the amount you're paid could be worth it enough that you still make a good amount even after subtracting the agency fee and travel expenses. When I apply to agencies, I first send in my images and information through their online portal. In the notes section, I list my skills and physical abilities. Agents are pretty on top of checking for submissions, and if they're interested in learning more about you, then they will reach out within a few days. If I haven't heard back within a few days, I usually send a direct email to the commercial bookers. I'll give a very brief introduction, I'll add in my measurements, list out my talents, and attach my digitals to the email. I keep everything super short. Honestly, sometimes this makes all the difference. It gets your name at the top of their inbox again. That way you might get considered a second time, or at the very least, you guarantee that they see it for the first time. And the way I see it, doing this extra step of emailing can't hurt. If they were going to reject you anyway, they'll reject you again. If they haven't seen you yet, they will definitely see you through their email. I have never gotten bad feedback from doing this. In fact, I feel like it shows that you're very much a go-getter, which is what agents want in a model. They want someone who's willing to put in the work to be successful, because if you make money, then they make money. It's worked out in my favor, I think, a couple of times now. That being said, I won't send more than one email. I know in any line of work, agents specifically are on top of their emails. So if the email was delivered, then they definitely got it, and I know they probably saw it. If I didn't hear anything from the email or the online application, then it's definitely a rejection. If I'm applying to agencies, I am also aware of when it's break season or busy season. So I typically won't apply around the winter holidays or summer holidays. I also wouldn't apply around Fashion Week either. During these times, submissions probably aren't a high priority for bookers, so when they do get around to finally looking, they're probably buried under a bigger pile of applications than usual, which could mean that they might not spend the same amount of time considering your submission compared to a non-busy season. That's just a theory, but to be safe, I avoid these times. Digitals are the plain photos you take with very little to no makeup to show agents what your face and your body proportions look like. Digitals are by far the most important part of your application. If you submit bad digitals, it's an automatic rejection. If you're really serious about getting signed, it could be worth paying a photographer to take these, but it's definitely not necessary at all. I personally have never paid a photographer to take digitals for me, but that's not saying that I never would. If you take them yourself, I would recommend taking them with a tripod and a self-timer camera. Or for me, I take a video of myself posing and I just take screenshots of the frames that I like. That way you can make any adjustments you need after a set. I also wouldn't have someone who doesn't have an artistic eye or isn't a photographer take digitals for you. If you don't have access to anyone like that, you're probably better off just using a tripod and doing the reps until you get it right. It's all about the correct angles and the distance and capturing the right facial expression. When in doubt, photograph your digitals slightly further away and crop them, especially your headshot. Having the camera too close to your face is not super flattering, and cropping makes a huge difference. I feel like there are a number of how-to videos on how to take digitals, but if you want me to make a video where I demonstrate how I take my digitals, let me know down below. If you don't have height on your side, you can play up your other advantages to get noticed by agents and casting directors. I have found that models who have a movement background generally have an advantage, and usually that's a dance or an athletic background. Because not only are you generally more comfortable in your body, but you work great for athletic shoots, and you have the capability to create more movement and angles in your test shoots, which make for more interesting images to market yourself with. If you have a skill, especially if it relates to a sport, I would play that up. Put it on your social media, add it as a special skill and or talent in the additional notes box when you apply to agencies. If you're short, building a strong social media presence works very heavily in your favor. People get scouted on social media all the time. If you happen to have a lot of followers, that also increases your chances of getting represented because clients are starting to want models who have an audience. From the brand's point of view, for the price of booking a model, they also get an influencer of sorts, because the model will probably post the final work on their social media, which reaches an additional audience. And clients can even have that in the contract too, and at a cheaper rate than booking an influencer specifically. If clients want models with more of a following, then social media is definitely a factor into whether models get signed or not. And that's certainly been the case in the last, I would say, 5 to 6 years. Let's talk about the types of jobs you could book as a petite model. I would categorize modeling into high fashion, commercial, and fit work. High fashion is editorial and runway, which is not impossible, but also not as easily accessible for short models. But the good news is commercial work is literally everything else in front of the camera, in my experience. And that can be print or video work. Commercial TV work extends into acting territory. In those types of jobs, there is a lot of overlap between actors and models, which is why many talent agencies will sign shorter models, because models can easily book commercial TV work, and that pays a good amount of money too. Let's first talk about fit modeling. While fit modeling is not in front of the camera, it's very inclusive because brands need models of a variety of heights and specific measurements. This is a technical role where you put on a garment and essentially give feedback to designers on how the clothing fits on your body. Models easily get paid $250 to $400 per hour for this job, but they do need to maintain their measurements and be able to speak about the clothes very technically. I get the sense that there are more fit modeling opportunities in the bigger markets like LA and New York, but for any clothing brand, they generally double check their work with a fit model. So anywhere there is a garment district where brands source their clothes, there will probably be a need for fit models. There are agencies that specialize in fit, among other types of modeling, which you would be able to determine because they have a fit board. And usually these are agencies where the founder worked as a fit model. Going into front of camera work. Commercial print/lifestyle is a very generic term, but it refers to any type of modeling where you sell the product by showing how great your life is with the product. That refers to pharmaceutical ads, clothing ads, any ads for things you have in your home, essentially. It's so wide-ranging, but they need models to sell it all. Because it has to be aspirational and relatable, they need above average looking, but everyday types of people in these ads. So there's a lot of opportunity here. With beauty, it doesn't matter how tall you are because you only get photographed from your torso. As long as you have an interesting or marketable face and can show a range of expressions and your skin tone happens to match whatever you are shooting, then you can book jobs here. But if you want to optimize for beauty jobs, I would recommend adding beauty-specific test shoots in your portfolio. And that requires different lighting setups and would probably usually require a makeup artist on set too. I'll add a couple videos on how to build your portfolio up here and in the description box. Fitness is a subcategory in commercial modeling because it requires additional skills sometimes. For example, I cast for a lot of running brands, and in these castings, they will ask me, can you easily run a 5K? Do you run long distances often? Can you sprint? And they ask this because brands need people who can physically do the job. If you have any other specialty, they'll ask you probably to include a reel of you performing whatever you do for the casting. Rejection is a normal part of the modeling industry. That's the only guarantee that you have in the modeling industry, that you will get rejected. From agencies, from castings, you'll get interest, then you'll get rejected, and this will probably happen multiple times. Your height is just one factor among many factors that will get you noticed by clients and agents. So play up your other factors. Also, confidence and professionalism matter a lot, especially when working with an agent. How quickly can you respond to emails and texts? Agents want models who are on top communication because sometimes agents get last-minute castings or get last-minute job requests, and they need to know if you're available. As a model, at some point, you will have to invest in a portfolio. You don't have to do this until after you get signed, but you can start thinking about it when you start getting interest from agencies. So when you build your first portfolio, it helps to do some competitive analysis. Who are other models who look like you in your market who are booking jobs? You might have to do some research on this, but pay attention to the types of images these models have in their portfolio. If they're working, that means they're generating attention with that portfolio, among other things, obviously. But in essence, those are the types of images you want to add in your portfolio. And that's a rough guide to follow, but when you get signed, your agent can provide more specific direction. Your height does not prevent you from getting signed with an agency and booking work. It might be a bit of a disadvantage, at least for now. But there are ways you can work around that, like targeting the right views, taking amazing digitals, showing off your physical skills, and building a strong social media presence. If you like this video, don't forget to like and subscribe. If you're just starting out in the industry, I would highly recommend checking out this video on how to start modeling with zero experience.